client comes to me, then, they got notice, the CP 5086, what to do. They've already passed the 90-day period, so it's already being certified. I ran transcripts, which is getting all the taxpayer reports for the last 10 years, and I found out, oops, 1 year it was unfiled. And I skipped taxpayers. I told him to refile his return. This is old, so you can't just file it electronically anymore. He kept filing it certified mail. The IRS wasn't getting it. This was going on for months. It happened during the shutdown. The taxpayer's debt now was approaching $1 million. I called up the IRS pretty much twice a week. What to do? How do you get this return done? We're sending it to you. You're not processing it. Finally, I became, best friends with the passport control department because I was calling them weekly. They told me if I faxed the return, they would at least get it in the system as being processed. So I faxed them the return, and then they came back to me and they go, oops, okay, we got the return now. You're good with that. However, to do an installment agreement, your client is close to $1 million. No one at Passport Control or ACS could work that. You need a revenue officer. I said, okay, could you sign a revenue officer? I'm happy to work with a revenue officer. They go, okay, the backlog because of the government shutdown and the cutbacks, 90 days. I said, well, my client needs to travel in a month. They go, well, this is all we could do. So I called up, I engaged taxpayer advocate. I kept calling ACS. Became a pest 4 times a week. I kept asking for an installment agreement. I did transcript monitoring. Suddenly, I noticed it showed the passport certification was reversed. Installment agreement pending was noted on his reports. I told taxpayer, said wait a week because the IRS has to now report this to the State Department. He did. He applied. He got his passport. He traveled. He got it. He's keeping his job, which you would have lost this month. This is a taxpayer that makes a lot of money. Investment bank, close to
They definitely need to be traveling. I mean, without that, they can't play the IRS anyway.
The 2 points here is, first of all, it's not in the best interest of the government not to do this, because if he doesn't have the job, then they're not going to get anything, number one. And number two is how important, Stephen, it is the extra work you did to get this client to a resolution. That it's important that you didn't just take a no and it's like, oh, well, I tried, guys. You took the next step. And as resolution experts, that's part of our job too, is if you get to something and it's a no, okay, well, what are the other options? Because we need to get this resolved, and you go to other people. And I just want to impress upon the people who are listening to this how effective Stephen's approach was, because he didn't just give up at the first roadblock.